Hey guys, this is Clay and welcome back to the 2011 Collective. And today, boys, we got a hot one for you. This is the KustomWorx LLC Defender 4¼ inch 1500 round review. And boys, woo, it took me 2 days to get through 410 rounds at the range because my broken shoulder. And again, you know, it's been a hot second since I've been behind a gun. The last time I shot was at SHOT Show. I only made it through about half of the range day before I tapped out. And the weather was down there, it was crazy. It was cold and windy. It felt like I was back in Afghanistan again. And I was like, you know, before hurting this thing anymore, I still had a full week to get through walking around all the booths, and I didn't want to be in any more pain than I already was. So I just hung it up and got through the stuff that I wanted to shoot and just kind of went with it. But I did notice that my shooting has definitely gone down because I normally shoot quite a bit. I normally shoot at least a couple times a week. Haven't been able to get out to the range, so I've been jonesing to do it. My shoulder hurts so bad. So, but I needed to get this done, these last 410 rounds through the gun, so I could get the gun back to Scott because I'm getting ready to get shoulder surgery. So with that out of the way, I have updated the assessment sheet here after just spent the last couple minutes going through the grading and just updating this piece because I want to be able to bring you kind of accurate assessment from all the changes that Scott's done to his build since the last time I got my Vulcan. So I believe I've got the scores down here, and to be able to get this assessed. Again, this is a 100-point scale. These categories are what's important to me when I go through and want to purchase a gun. If they're not important to you and you don't find them interesting, that's fine. That's cool. This is just what I like to see. This is the type of stuff I want to see on gun reviews from a technical perspective, to be able to connect the dots on why these guns are expensive. All these 2011 shoot great, boys. Like, there's some shoot better than others, but by and large, like, they all shoot, you know, pretty similarly, and just, you know, whether you got porting or the balance of the gun or what have you, from a shooting perspective, just, you know, and that's could be subjective to a shooter. So I focus on the technical stuff. What goes into the build? How much time did they spend on the gun? Like, does it show up when you're handling it and taking the gun apart? That's what I focus on. So this is what this represents. I do get into the shooting performance part of it, but I focus more on the build quality piece and like what makes these guys great or not great. So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's jump into all of the categories and get this party started. So first, as always, it is design. I gave this one 4.5 out of 5. Man, I tell you what, I love all sorts of 2011s. People give me crap because I like the way Jacob Gray. I love Jacob Gray looks, man. I love all different flavors of 2011s. They're all like my children when I want to buy them all up. But this one, I do appreciate just a minimalistic kind of design. You know, again, I took this one half a point off for slide serrations. I know Scott, again, where the bird is at right here, he did a little cut in to be able to assist with those press checks. Again, I haven't been able to get my hands on that to assess that piece, so I kept this one 4.5 out of 5. I would just like to be more of them, a little bit more grippier. And again, that could just be subjective to me, and that could be just fine for anybody else. But that's kind of my point of view on the design of this gun. And moving on to standout and additional features, this is kind of the category I put in here, like what sets you apart from other 2011 builders and what makes your gun good, right? I mean, because if we're all using the same parts, and it's like, what separates you from the next guy to the next, right? So, and that's kind of what this category represents. And again, boys, like, the biggest thing that this gun has that will, in my mind, is the most noticeable or standout feature is the action on this gun. I have said it on my Vulcan. I tell everybody on Reddit. I scream this from the rooftops because of how great this gun is. You rack this slide, boys, and I am telling you what, I got my hands on just about every gun at SHOT Show. I had 2 sets of Atlas, the Hayes Cobra, the Vulcan Machine Works, Nighthawk. Like, you run the gamut of 2011s. I felt them, handled them, or shot them. Damn near all of them. And I can tell you, I started getting feedback from some of the dudes who got their Vulcan builds in, and I wanted to know if I'm accurate. I don't want to misrepresent my statements. I want accurate information to be able to get out to you, because that was my assessment prior to going to SHOT Show. I was like, God, this gun it's special, man. Like, you feel this, and it's like on ball bearings, glass, ice, whatever the terminology you want to use. It is the smoothest action 2011 I've ever felt. Again, I've got my hands on all the Atlas guns. There's only one person from the feedback that I received, and he said, I wouldn't say that it's smoother than an Atlas. What he said was, it is as smooth as an Atlas. And I said, you know something, brother? I'll take it. Because for the price point, the Atlas guns are way more expensive than this guy. We'll get into that here in a minute. But the action on this gun, boys, is the very first thing that stands out to you. That, or if you got some polishing work, the polishing work will stand out to you as well. But for all intents and purposes, all sample sizes, if you don't get polishing, the action on all these guns are the same. It jumps out at me. I went to the booth with Scott at SHOT Show, and I was like, pick up that. He picked up an Atlas ergos, and he started racking. I was like, now tell me if that gun is smoother. And he was like, I don't think it is. And I said, I agree. And not to say that's all end all be all, but that's just one of those things that when we talk about what makes a gun feel more high end, that is one of the things. So with that being said, the other part of this gun, it's got a direct mount red dot footprint. There is no plates, thank God. Now, if you're one of the other people who don't run RMR or Delta Point Pro, I'm sorry. But if you are, dude, direct mount, it is the way. The other piece that I like to call out with these guys, again, they do all their manufacturing in-house, boys. They make their own parts. I promise you, that is a big deal. There's really only a few people that actually do that in the industry. A lot of the people rebrand their stuff and say that they make it, and they really don't. They actually make their own stuff here, guys. So really proud to say that they're one of the few people that actually do that, which is really cool. Again, 5 out of 5 on all of the standout and additional features that go on this build. Moving on to quality of parts. Again, this is a huge category for me. This is what drives costs on these guns, boys. What kind of materials do you use? What is your processing of these parts to put on these builds? Everything is done in-house. The slide, the frame, the grip, the barrel, the ignition kit. Like, the only thing that isn't put on this gun are the controls and the small parts, like your springs and that type of stuff. Everything else is done in-house by KustomWorx via 3 Sigma. That's how great. I had an opportunity to eat dinner with the CEO of 3 Sigma, Ken Frankel. He is an awesome man. He is super passionate about the quality of parts that he puts out of his business. Him and Scott, again, are business partners, and the engineers there, they got Sean, he's one of the engineers there at 3 Sigma. They're the masterminds behind these quality parts, man. I cannot stress that enough. These guys are doing it right. All tooled steel. There's no mim on this gun. This thing is built like a brick shithouse tank. Love it, love it, love it. Moving on to slide to frame. Again, I gave this one 4 out of 5. There's it's got 6,500, north of just 6,500 rounds. It's got a little bit of play in the slide. Not too bad. I mean, after 6,500 rounds, this thing has been put through the ringer, and I guarantee this thing can last damn near a lifetime if you take good care of it. So, but once again, it's got a little bit of play. So I'm just reporting the news. 4 out of 5 on that category. Barrel lockup. You saw it in the first look. You do your press checks down on all your guns here, and just move your barrel around and see if you've got any movement. The barrel lock on this thing is absolutely perfection. No issues there. Moving on to grip to frame. This is another one that a lot of dudes don't want to check, but take your gun, put it up to a light source, and see if there's any daylight and sliver up from where the frame comes down on the grip module there. Not the end of the world. It just shows you how tight the tolerance is. That goes back to, like, what is the difference between why a high-end gun costs as much as they do? You don't have stuff on like that on high-end guns. There is no daylight on this build. Happy to report 5 out of 5. Small parts fitment. You saw it on my fitment checks. This gun is bone tight. The triggers fit really well. All of the thumb safeties is fit really well. There is no rattle. Just a little shake test that you can do on your guns to be able to see if there's any kind of. Sometimes you can get like an ambi safety that's loose, and you can shake it, and you're like, oh crap, man, that needs to be tightened up and readdressed. It's all buttoned up on this build. No issues there. Now, moving on to my favorite category, which is blending and polishing, because outside of quality of parts, this is the category that really drives the cost up, because this is the amount of time whenever the builder gets the part in, this is the amount of time that they spend on the gun, okay? So what do I mean by that? Let's talk about that for a second. That is where they take the Dremel or whatever type of sanding device or blending device that they've got. Normally it's a Dremel tool. and they smooth out the extractor, they smooth out the ejector, they smooth out the transitions from where the beaver tail meets up to the frame and the grip module. It is all, they basically dehorn the entire gun and smooth everything out. That takes time. I added it up because it took me 7 hours to do my Prodigy. And I'm no gunsmith. I was just out there just learning on the platform. 7 hours. And I was told, I think it was like Don from Venom Customs. He said, I forget how many man hours that he puts into one gun, but it is astronomical. Guys, like that is the level of detail that you're looking for in these high-end builds. Boys, I am telling you, it's what I keep on trying to say. KustomWorx has this one in spades. Scott does the best polishing work in the business. You can damn near shave in that shit on his polishing work. His blending is up there with some of the best of them, man. It is up there with the big boys. I promise you, there isn't any hot spot on this freaking gun. This gun is super comfortable to shoot. You will have no issues with that, man. As I said, 10 out of 10. His attention to detail in these two areas are phenomenal, guys. Once again, I keep stressing that because you do not find that on every build that you can pay more money for. Just so you know, because I've got guns in my collection that aren't nearly on this level. That is the reason why I've been so high on KustomWorx. Moving on to coating. Again, before I had this one 4 out of 5 because of all the different options. Guess what Scott did? He went outside and he found himself a DLC vendor because that's what we want on high-end 2011 builds. You can now, I'm happy to report, boys, you can get DLC on these guns, black, bronze, or gold if you want to do a little Gucci. And he's got polishing, black nitride, brush. This one comes in this is what the satin looks like. I mean, so many different options that you can pick from. Could be more pleased with, getting DLC, whenever I come back up, I'm probably going to order another gun from Scott at some point. That's probably, I've been chatting with my OG Vulcan crew of what type of builds, our next builds we're going to have, and might be a little bit before I get one of them. But yeah, I really just enjoy the fact that, or I get great satisfaction out that he's actually listened to customer feedback and went out and did the work to be able to find somebody to get DLC, because that is the expectation on these builds, boys. DLC is the standard. So I do appreciate that. 5 out of 5. Controls, again, Scott partnered with Atlas Gunworks to be able to bring you the best controls in the industry, hands down. If you're if you like to shoot at 40, the thumb up at 45, man, like I do, I got big hands. It is a big deal for me. I don't like them. I swap them out on, if it does not have an Atlas high ride safety, it is getting one, because I don't like shooting with the regular traditional, the flat 90s. I don't like them. That's just me. But now he's went out and partnered with Atlas. You got thumb rests, all your controls are set up. 5 out of 5, best in the game, man. Really happy to report that news. Trigger, okay, again, I did not upgrade this one. This one's still 4.5 out of 5. I was showing you the trigger reset on this gun is phenomenal, boys. It is super short. You can see that's it. I mean, it's super short. It's got a little bit more take up. This is what I was talking about. It's got a little bit, I'd like to set it just a little bit more back because we don't have the adjustability on the one-piece trigger bow, but man, it is sub 2 pounds of perfection. Just, once again, that the pre-travel part is probably more subjective, but this is how I'm grading and assessing the gun. So 4.5 out of 5. Really happy with the trigger, and it's super easy to get out the long range when you got these light triggers too. Definitely easy when you got a lot easier when you got a bum shoulder. So really happy there. Grip textures and ergos. This is another one, big 5 out of 5. Man, he's got 3 different types of trigger guards. He's got 3 different types of textures, all aluminum, pin grip safety. The ergos are there. Again, the only thing I guess I could ask for is a stainless steel grip as that option. But, again, the industry standard on all metal 2011s typically is aluminum. So again, 5 out of 5, no issues there, but he's got you covered in every type of option that you'd want on grip texture. Really impressed with that. Moving on to tuning. Again, boys, 5 out of 5. This gun is tuned by a master gunsmith. This gun particularly is running a 10-pound recoil spring and a 15-pound main. I haven't had a chance to sit down and actually look at the shooting footage just quite yet. But I can tell you that The gun doesn't seem like it dipped when I was shooting. Like I was outside of just battling the sun with the reflection. The gun feels like it's really well balanced and it's tuned. I mean, to perfection. It's got a forceful reset on the trigger. The sear spring seems to be tuned properly. The gun is super balanced, as I said. Shooting it from what I can tell, no issues there. Now, moving on to value. Okay, boys, this is where this gun makes its money. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This is easily the best built sub 4,000 2011 on the market, hands down, not even negotiable, man. Like I am telling you right now, boys, like this gun base price is $3,400. I am telling you, I have got my hands on just about every 2011. I believe at the $3,000, sub $3,000 price point, MPA makes the best 2011. And anybody dude on Reddit that comes is like, I got a $3,000 budget right there. You know, I always go get a MPA DS9 hybrid. No question. And when somebody goes, hey, I got about a $4,000 budget and they're not looking for like a Staccato XC or a comp version or something crazy like that, and they're just looking for like a limited optics gun, KustomWorx. My first immediate, and everybody's like, oh, dude, you're shilling. There is a reason why, boys. I am telling you, when word gets out, I'm telling you the value, this thing, what do they say, punches well above its weight class. This is the best built gun that I have felt sub, and this gun right here can rival with the big boys. I'm not going to sit here and say it's better because I just don't think that that's fair because everybody is, you know, doing their own thing at those higher price points. I'm not going to say it's better. I'm just saying for than the higher price point guns, but for a 4,000 and under, this is the best built 2011. It's better than a Voodoo Gunworks. It's better than an MPA. It is smoother in action. It's all metal, no MIM. They're doing things just really right there. It's value rich, boys. That's what I keep on saying. You will feel the high quality class on this thing if you put it in hand. It is that impressive, boys. I keep on saying these guns are special and the value is most certainly there. So again, 5 out of 5 on the value. Now, getting into the fun part, this is going to be the shooting performance side of the house. This is where I sucked at this time on this review, so I will admit that. But from an accuracy perspective, I shot some 25 yard groups with the gun. Again, my shoulders, I didn't really do the gun justice. Before I hurt my shoulder and I shot it indoor at my indoor range because the weather out here was crappy. Dude, I was shooting sub 1 MOA. I was stacking rounds on rounds at 15 yards. No issues whatsoever. Again, this is not, you know, I was in a controlled environment, sitting down, bench rested. This was just kind of out here free floating it on my bench and just seeing what we could do. But still did pretty good on it. I was pretty pleased with it because I know that it can get better. It was me than it was the gun. But accuracy on this gun is way more accurate than I'll ever be. Reliability, north of 6,500 rounds. I can't speak for the other 6,000 or 5,000, but the 1,510 rounds that I put into it, to be exact, I didn't have any malfunctions. You know, it ran flawlessly. Take that for what it's worth. You know, I didn't have any. Obviously, it was already broken in, so there was no break-in period for it. That's all I can go off of, is just how it ran for me since I've had it. So no issues there. Okay, moving into kind of the recoil management piece of this review. So felt recoil on this guy, I gave 4 out of 5, and here's why. I'm a 5-inch gun type of guy. I prefer a 5-inch gun, but I own 4.25 inch guns. And one of the things that, if you notice, be owning between the two 2011 kind of lengths, on a 4.25 inch, they cycle really fast, especially the ported ones. This thing's got V10 porting on it. It cycles like a friggin' freight train. This thing is fast AF, boys. And, you know, I probably didn't do it again any justice on the shooting performance side of the house on this review, but mark my words, man, this gun burns it down. It is super fast. It's just, for me, you know, with those 4.25s, you know, the weight isn't there like you would have on a 5-inch. But again, 4 out of 5 on felt recoil. It's got a little bit more. It's a little bit more punchier in their hand because it's a smaller gun. And again, muzzle flip, it's kind of the same way on a shorter gun. You're going to have just a little bit more flip trying to maintain that recoil. But again, 4 out of 5. This gun is flat, it's soft, it's all the fun things that everybody likes to say about these 2011s when the porting jobs are done right. Even non-ported, I mean, you can still, you know, burn it down with this thing too. No issues there. So that is it, guys. That is all of my categories. I am sitting as an overall score. If you add everything up, this gun is sitting at a 96. Man, that's a high score. You know, kind of closing thoughts on this Defender model, and more or less like KustomWorx as a brand, right? I feel, again, I'll say it again, man, this is the best built sub $4,000 gun on the market. In my mind, I stand behind it. I stand behind my Vulcan review. I stand behind this assessment of this Defender. When guys start getting more, and they're starting to come, man, people are getting more of them in their hands, and they're starting to understand what I'm saying about these guns. These guns are special, boys. It looks like I'm shilling for what as the young kids say, shilling for KustomWorx. I'm not trying to sell you a gun, okay? You know, I was watching 2A and LA's video a couple weeks ago about, you know, not trying to sell you a gun. Here's what I am going to do. I'm going to tell you that I own enough of them. I have enough experience on the platform to tell you like what's good and what's bad. And because I get technical, I'm down in the weeds, boys. Like, I'm tearing guns apart. I'm one of the only few dudes on YouTube that actually do that. That's the part that I geek out on. It's the build quality. That is like, again, these guns all shoot really well. Like, even some of the lower tiered, like, you can make a Prodigy shoot great. So it's not necessarily all about the shooting performance. It's really about how well the gun is built. And that is where I focus on. So that's what these categories represent. And again, I am telling you, this gun is built to a very high standard. This gun can, if you rip this gun apart, and I can almost guarantee you, I've got a special surprise coming. Just got the call today. My Hayes Customs ported iron barrel is in. I will have it. It is coming. So I want to put these next to each other. Hayes is considered one of the best 2011 builders in the game, and I got to shoot the Hayes Cobra when I was at SHOT Show, and I completely agree. That gun, the Hayes Cobras, are special too as well. I understand why people love those guns. I understand why people love Atlas Gunworks guns. What I'm telling you, boys, is this gun right here, this is one of the few exceptions. This KustomWorx gun is one of the few exceptions. This is best in class at 4K. This can rival the big boys, I promise you. I cannot wait until more people get these guns. Scott's gonna be hating me because his lead times I think they're at like 6 weeks right now. When this momentum grows and people start understanding what I see in these guns, like, he's gonna get real busy real quick, man. No doubt there, man. But again, KustomWorx, boys, it comes highly recommended from me. Scott has got his website out there. He's got his build sheet. I think he's on revision 16. Send him questions, reach out to him. I know there was a gentleman that had reached out, and, you know, if you have more questions, give the dude a call, man. You know, give him a call and ask to get clarity if you have a problem with the build sheet. I know Scott, he's a great man. He wants to do right by his customers, and he'd be happy to answer any of your questions. But that is it, boys. That's my Defender review. Next for me, I get shoulder surgery. I'm going to be on hiatus, so I'm probably not going to be on YouTube for a while. I get my Hayes in, so I'm going to try. I don't know how I'm going to handle it. I don't know if I'm going to do a first impressions, or because I don't have that much longer. I don't know if I can get, based off of these 400 rounds, I don't think I can get 1,500 rounds through a gun before the 13th. So we will see. I might just do a first impressions video and just, I don't know, just walk you through the gun and just call it a day. And then whenever I get back up fully, I really want to do these guns justice, because I didn't get the shooting performance, and I want to give Hayes all the special attention that I can on my channel. So whenever I get back up and running, that's going to be probably my next video, is my Hayes ported iron barrel, and I'm really super happy. I've been waiting for a long time for that dude to come in. So I'm really happy about that. But that's it, boys. Thank you so much for the love and support. Obviously, being down for half of the year of 2025 is not what I wanted, but it's all good, man. This YouTube stuff's just for fun, as a hobby, to be able to share this content with you. And I appreciate y'all, and we'll catch you again on the next one. Peace. All right, boys, we are back here again with the Defender model. This is going to be at full speed, as much as my little trigger finger can pull the trigger. Stand by. Boys, we are back here. We're going to shoot another group. See how we're doing. So I'm still trying to get warmed up, and this green dot is not what I like to shoot, but that is okay. We're going to shoot another group here into the sun. Let's see if I can get. The problem is the dot looks like it's blown out. My eyes got a really bad stigmatism, and this dot is having a hard time getting a fine aiming point, but we're going to do one more time. Let's see how we did. Let's go real time. All right, here we go, boys. Let's see how we did. And it is hard to shoot when your shoulder is jacked up. That's all I know. But we're making it. We got to get through this review. All right, we want top right. That's actually pretty good. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's 25 yards. Probably, I don't know. A lot of that's probably me, but throwing some of these. But yeah, I mean, I said mechanically accurate. I'm shooting a little bit to the right, it looks like. I don't know if I'd get the dot zeroed good enough for me, but I said that was my second group right there. And then this was my first group. I said I was shooting a little high, but we're going to continue to shoot a little bit more and just kind of test. There's my other group. I said it's not been too bad. I've shot 4 groups so far, and you know, I mean, not be my gun, not be my red dot. It's not too shabby, man. All right, guys, we are back here with the Defender here, and we are going to shoot. We're right on the dot of 40 yards. We got the sun beating in our eyes, so we got to contend with that a little bit in the afternoon. But we're going to take this guy out to distance and just see how the Defender. I was shooting a little bit right on my my 25-yard grouping, so I don't know if, once again, this isn't my red dot, so this is Scott's, but we're just going to see how the gun kind of behaves at distance and just have a little fun and shoot some steel, boys. Let's do it. I think I've missed the very first one. This is a 25 round mag. I missed hit 24 out of 25 at 40 yards at a pretty decent click. Not too shabby, boys. This is Defender, dude. I try to tell you, this gun's pretty, it's pretty accurate, man. Much more accurate than me. Anyway, so let's move on to the next drill. All right, guys, we have got the Defender out here on the gong target. So we're just gonna have some fun and just do a couple little runs. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 mags left, and that's gonna be kind of it for this little drill, and then we'll move on to the next one. All right, stand by. Here we go, boys. Happy with that one. Go again. That's a pretty good one too. Drop the mag. Let's go again. starting like a mother trucker, but it's a good run. All right, guys, we are back here with the Defender here. We have got a mag loaded up, and we're going to go ahead on our 4 hostage targets and just run this couple of transition drills. Not really drills, just kind of having fun. I might be able to go too quickly, but at least you'll be able to see how kind of the gun behaves and just pointing and moving between target to target. So stay by. Here we go. Losing the dot and the sun to the left, guys. Sorry about that. We're midday. Every time, I shoot up here, you can see the elevation is I'm about 100 feet below the road right there. So that's why I said I got a really good bank to shoot up. But during the mid-afternoon, boy, it is rough to see out here. So here we go. That was a good little run right there. See how we did. All right, boys. That is the Defender 4 1/4 KustomWorx LLC, boys. Once again, that's the shooting footage, and that's a wrap. Cheers, y'all. Peace.